Welcome to the Lauren Blackwell channel. What initially looked like an innocent desire on the part of the Kardashians to bring Britney Spears closer to them as a show of support started to look a little differently when I looked into the comment section of wherever I find this video of Britney hanging out with Kim and Kloe Kardashian in their house. Today I will be talking about Britney Spears and some things that I find baffling about, her hanging out with the Kardashians. So we were all minding our business, okay? And then Britney Spears and a couple Kardashians decided to post this video of Britney hanging out with them and their kids and them just playing around and goofing around and stuff, right? We were minding our business when they decided to post this. So after this got posted, it seemed the initial impression that a person would get from this clip is that, the Kardashians are trying to bring Britney closer, to have it such that she's not all there by herself, dancing and twirling day after day, for the rest of her life. It's okay to twirl, but it's okay to take a break and just hang out with friends, especially friends your age that are, not your kids or not your kids' age or anything like that. So initially it looked like the Kardashians were doing something nice, especially when you consider that Paris Hilton was dressed up as Britney on Halloween for the umpteenth time, as a way to honor her. No harm there. And then you remember that Paris Hilton is friends with the Kardashians. So you think to yourself, well, Paris Hilton is honoring Britney, and a lot of celebrities have not really spoken out in support of her lately. So perhaps Paris Hilton and the Kardashians sort of decided to take it upon themselves to do something nice, pull her out of her cocoon and just bring her out a little bit. But slowly you begin to look at, people's comments and people's thoughts on the matter and realize, well, there's something baffling going on here, even though you can't really put your finger on it. Here's the thing. Ever since certain secrets about celebrities and politicians and just famous people in general, ever since a lot of secrets started to come out, there's been so much paranoia and so much conspiracy theories. And when you consider this day and age that we're in, every paranoia is justified and every conspiracy theory is true. That is my new philosophy. There's no such thing as a conspiracy theory. If you think it's a conspiracy theory, it's been going on for at least a decade, okay? So with all of this stuff going on, nobody trusts intentions anymore, especially when it comes to wealthy people that don't typically help the less fortunate, unless they have something to gain from it. So there's a lot of conspiracy theories and stories around Britney Spears visiting the Kardashians, or the Kardashians inviting Britney Spears to spend time with them and then posting it on social media. But I'm going to focus on one thing. Why the sudden lending of a hand? Why did the Kardashians suddenly decide to invite Britney to their home for like a girls' night out or whatever? Just why? It begs the question why. And a lot of people have their theories. There's a million of them out there. But one thing is for sure, you cannot deny that it is all very sudden. It took everyone by surprise because they're like, of all people for her to be hanging out with, perhaps these are not the ones she should have chosen. Even people that wanted her to have more friends around her who cared about her are saying that perhaps she should have thought a little bit more carefully before choosing who she should begin to surround herself with in this new phase of her life. And I'm talking about Britney. Because this act by the Kardashians was so unexpected, it does not feel natural. It does not feel spontaneous. It feels intentional. It feels planned. It almost feels as if they are trying to accomplish something, which a lot of people are picking up on. Now, whether this is true or not, of course, I don't know. I don't speak to any of these people. I don't know what's going on inside, behind the screen. I don't know. So, but from what I gathered from a lot of people's sentiments that have seen this clip, is that it feels intentional, and a lot of people are saying that certain things are coming out about a close friend and confidant and business partner of the Kardashians, and in order for the Kardashians to put the fire out before it gets blown out of proportion, before it becomes a bigger deal, they decided to get ahead of any possible negative story about this friend of theirs and their interaction with this person by inviting Britney Spears to their house so that they can look like they're all friends and they're all getting along fine. Now, this friend of theirs also was a manager of Britney Spears at some point, and this friend of theirs worked with Britney Spears' father at some point, and this friend of theirs had a very strong influence in Britney Spears' father deciding to put Britney Spears in a conservatorship. This same friend was getting donations from Britney Spears' father through her husband and her husband's institution. And the donations were coming in the form of tithes from Britney Spears' father. And Britney Spears' father was getting some of this money, majority of this money, from Britney Spears' estate. And because there's news about this friend who is close to the Kardashians, there's negative news about them coming out regarding the negative roles that they played in Britney Spears' conservatorship and tapping into her wealth. It seems as though the Kardashians were quote unquote sent to rectify the problem before it becomes bigger news. In order for the Kardashians to put a stop to it and, kill the story, they invited Britney Spears intentionally for the sole purpose of presenting a united front with Britney so that all of that news will die down. Celebrities do this a lot, by the way. If two celebrities that are under the same umbrella are being pitted against one another, say by their fans, and it looks like they're about to become enemies, they will be seen together very quickly after the issue starts in order to squash whatever potential beef their fan bases may perceive, as a way of saying there is no problem between us, we are getting along just fine. This only happens if they're under the same umbrella though. Recently, a few months ago, or was it last year? It was last year when two big artists were being pitted against each other, but because they're under the same umbrella, what happened? One artist goes to the other artist, they are photographed together so that it presents a united front between the two of them so that the issue can die down. It is very effective. Once they do that, the fan bases will calm down and whatever drama would have brewed between the fan bases, and in other words, the celebrities, will die down immediately. This also happened very recently where two artists I think this happened as recently as maybe last month, if not even this November 2025, where two artists, one is not very liked right now. They've been experiencing a lot of negativity as of recently. They used to be very well liked, but it seems like their fan base is turning against them. And then the other one is pretty well liked, and the fan bases started turning on each other. And the fan base of Celebrity B, who's a smaller artist, started to talk about how their star is much more likable and more authentic and honest and etc. And it's like a fan base versus fan base thing starting to brew. And before you know it, what do we see? We see them hanging out, going out to dinner or wherever they went to, and that killed that beef right away. So it's very effective. So it seems as though that is what the Kardashians are trying to do with Britney Spears by inviting her to their house so that they can take these pictures and make this video and, you know, play around and have it posted on social media. That is a very important part of it. It needs to be seen, it needs to be posted, you know, on social media so that both sides, both fan bases, or supporters versus non-supporters, they will see the video, and that will make people think that, okay, these two people are friends, they're getting along fine, there is no issue. But it's important to note though that this only happens when both parties, both celebrities, are under the same umbrella. If they're not in the same umbrella, if one is under an umbrella, the other is not, this will not happen. They will not get together to have lunch or hang out and take pictures. They will not do this. The beef will be allowed to continue, and whichever one is under the umbrella is the one that is going to be pushed and made to look more positive, while the other one is going to be made to look quote unquote crazy. And you know, one other thing that I've noticed about artists under the umbrella is that there's still a hierarchy, and the one that is beneath is the one that will go to the one that's above them in the hierarchy under this umbrella. So even under the umbrella, there is still a hierarchy. But that's also a different conversation entirely. So let's get back on track on what we're talking about. So yeah, it's damage control is what it's starting to look like. It went from looking like, oh, this is such a sweet thing that the Kardashians are doing, helping this lady that most celebrities have almost turned their back on, to this is starting to look like they were sent to kill a story that they do not want to have come out because it involves their friends and their business partners and institutions that they would rather not want to have them have this negative light shone on them. So yeah, it kind of ruined it. Isn't it sad how once the greed and corruption of people are exposed, you can no longer see them in a positive light no matter what they do? Because at the end of the day, to be honest, who is 100% sure about why Britney Spears was invited there? Can anyone say they're 100% sure except for the people involved? No, no one can, because they weren't there when it was being discussed. But when you know a person's character to be shady and questionable, everything they do becomes questionable to you, because it's like your eyes have been tainted and you just cannot see through any other lens except these people are highly questionable. And the thing about a lot of people, like the general public, is that once they catch on to something, it is very difficult to have them forget what they have seen. That's why people dredge up stuff that people, celebrities and their faves have done or said from a long time ago, because people always remember. So the easiest thing is to not have people become aware in the first place, because once people become aware, they begin to see clues everywhere. Like, I know people like to say that the public are not intelligent, they're not smart at all, you can pull a wool over their eyes very easily, and they have the comprehension skills of a third grader or fifth grader, however the saying goes. But once people catch on to something, they begin to make connections and they figure things out very fast. And in this day and age of social media, it is very difficult. It is becoming even more difficult to hide stuff that you don't think people will notice. People will notice. They will catch on to it. I mean, imagine being able to read a person's true personality that you have never met before, but you see them online. And a lot of people do this, and they're quite accurate because the way that these people act justifies people's impression of them. And a lot of the time, people's impression, especially when it's negative, is accurate a lot of the time. And most people start out being positive, and then it looks like, I don't know, something happens along the way and then they just turn negative, and people pick this up. And it's sad how Britney Spears just does not seem to have anyone in her corner that truly wants her to be better and to just do better. Because it seems like everyone that comes in contact with her are like, they have ulterior motives, and it seems like, it does seem like there are people who care about her, but those are not the people that are around her. And I don't know what that is. It's almost as if people who really care about her do not have access to her, and then people that have access to her do not truly care about her. It's just weird. It's a weird, crazy thing that they are doing over there. It truly is a dog eat dog world in the celebrity world, because you cannot be vulnerable. You cannot wear your authentic self on your sleeve. You have to be a fox, because you will be eaten alive if you're not sharp. I think that's what's happening to Britney right now. I'm not saying that the Kardashians are trying to take advantage of her, because like I said, I am not 100% sure. But this is a lot of people's impression of their interactions with Britney Spears. And not just the Kardashians, but a lot of people that come into Britney's life. It's just proof that these celebrities, they themselves are not safe. Because once they're at a vulnerable spot, the vultures will come swooping around, and sometimes the vultures are other celebrities. It's crazy. And you know what just occurred to me? Something that I never even considered prior to this. We've always blamed Britney Spears' father for deciding to put her in a conservatorship. We as a people, the general population, we acknowledge that other people may have advised him, but I think that it never really occurred to us that it is possible that Britney Spears' father did not have a choice. He did not have a choice. He had to put her in a conservatorship. And perhaps he did not have a choice to give those tithes either. But you know what? That's a whole different conversation. But I just think that perhaps he did not have a choice, because who wants to see their daughter that way, So yeah, that's one thing we should all consider. Well, at the end of the day, all we can do is wish Britney Spears the best and hope that she has the discernment to see through the people that she is surrounding herself with, so that she can find her way back to herself again. That's all I have on this Britney Spears hanging out with the Kardashians thing. Thank you guys for watching. See you in my next one. Bye guys.